the difference between a weekend program and a midweek program? That's what we're talking about today on the Ministry Coach Podcast.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we bring you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast track the growth and health of your youth ministry. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola.
And stick around to the end of this episode because we're going to be discussing, number one, who our first giveaway winner is for this particular giveaway we're doing.
Woo.
Episode 150 was last episode, and so we're doing a giveaway for 5 weeks, and tonight is the first night that we're announcing a winner. Also, if you have no idea what we're talking about, stick around to the end and you'll find out all about it. But today, what we're talking about is the difference between your weekend service and your regular youth group, like whether that's a midweek or a Sunday night or however you're distinguishing that.
Yeah, I am surprised at how often we get this question.
Yeah.
I think I live in a bubble maybe and just figure everybody knows, like, because they probably do it the same way. But I don't think that's the case because this keeps coming up over and over again. So what we're going to do today is go piece by piece of how I do a weekend service and then piece by piece of how I do a midweek service. And we'll talk about the differences between the two and the purposes that are different between each one because they do have a different flavor. Same church, same ministry, same staff for the most part, but definitely a different flavor. So let's start with the weekend services.
Let's start.
All right. So we have three weekend services. Do you know who said that?
Yes,
Three.
yes, I do.
A one?
Tootsie Pop.
Yes.
Or Tootsie.
The owl.
Yeah.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie
One,
Pop?
a two, a three.
A three. Okay, so we have 3 services: Saturday night at 5:30, Sunday morning 9 a.m., and Sunday morning 11 a.m. And each one of these services mirrors the next. I don't change. Like Saturday night doesn't really look a whole lot different. Sometimes I play a different game because the group is smaller and I can't really play the game I had planned, stuff like that. But for the most part, I plan a template for my weekend services and I repeat. So here's how it would work is my room is for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. If a family comes to church, they're going to drop off their 6th, 7th, or 8th grader in my room right from the get-go. The kids do not go in the main service for anything unless they're new and a little shy and they're not ready to come in. You guys know that story, tale as old as time. But if they're one of my regular kids, they're going to come in and they're going to check in my room. So we do like a computerized check-in for them in there. It'll print their little name tag and they put it in a bowl. I don't make junior hires wear name tags. To me, it feels a little elementary school. So we put them in a bowl and we pick a winner during the announcements. We do like a lottery raffle kind of thing. So pretty much for all the services, the students come in and we hang out and we go up until 5 minutes after the adult service starts. So for the 5:30 service, I let them hang out and play and socialize till 5:35. On Sunday, 9:05, 11:05. And what we're doing during that time is eating donuts or cookies on Saturday night. We have a 4-square court in our room. I mounted a basketball hoop, which I kind of regret, in my room. Knocks over a lot of things, the basketball, as it flies down, hits my floodlights, all kinds of things. But the kids love it. We play Nintendo Switch. I have an air hockey table. I have some coloring books. There's plenty to do. Music on, food out. We're hanging out, having a good time. They have a would you rather that they're signing. Would you rather wear sweaty socks all day or itchy sweater all day? And they sign their name. So that's kind of what's going on in the room. Then at 5:35 or whatever it is, 5 minutes after regular service. Oh, one thing I do too is I have rotating pictures going on the screen of our most recent event. I like having recent pictures so people are like, oh, that's what that event looked like. And it's just a pro presenter presentation of like all of our winter camp pictures or all of our, Glover Nighter pictures, whatever it might be. So then the kids come in, they all have a seat in typical junior high style. The girls are on my left, the boys are on my right. And you want to know what's weird? That has never changed. No matter what room I've been in, the girls always go on my left. The boys always go on my right.
Always separate?
Always
On their own.
on their own. I've never assigned it. And I've never said, like, we used to have a different classroom and it was still girls were on my left, boys are on my right. In the auditorium, girls are on my left, boys are on my right. It's a weird phenomenon. I should study it, a social study or something. But anyways, so then we get started. So the first thing we do is the lottery. So we're like, everyone go ahead and stand up. And those name tags that printed out, we pick a winner. That's a really great trick of doing attendance. If you're having kids kind of push back, they don't want to do attendance or they're being lazy or whatever, you could have them write their name, first and last name, or you could print out attendance cards, whatever. You put it in a bucket, and then every service you pick out a winner or 2 or 3, however many you want to do. And if they win, they get a piece of candy. That's a huge incentive for a junior hire. So basically the way it'll go is I pick a name. I don't let anyone see. Everyone's standing up and say, if you're wearing jeans, sit down. If you're wearing a hat, stay standing. If you have a brother in this room, stay standing. Yeah. If your name rhymes with Blyan, it's you, Ryan, yay. And so they win, and that's something they really look forward to. Then we do our announcements. So we announce what's coming up and anything they need to know. And then we do our offering. Our offering goes to support a Compassion International child that we sponsor as a youth group, a little girl from Uganda. We have a little box for her, and the kids put their tithes and offerings in there. And then we get going with a game. So we play a group game, sometimes inside, sometimes outside. And then after the game, we do worship. So my worship guy comes in. Now, this is about 30 minutes after the start of service. So 30 minutes in is worship, and we do 2 songs only on Sundays because it's a shorter period of time that we're all together. We do 1 fast, 1 slow, and then...
Always in that order?
Yep, always in that order. You know, you want to end on a low energy note so that they don't go wild during your message.
Kind of catching them in their high and then bringing them down to a calmer state.
Shh, 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 shh. Hush, little baby.
Sing a lullaby.
More milk. And then we do soy milk, of course. Then we do our message, and the message on a weekend is a little longer than it would be on a Tuesday night. So I'll talk about that in a second. So this is probably more of a 25-minute message, and then we dismiss, and they can either stay in the room and play and hang out, because some kids stay for second service. Go figure. They love to stay for the whole weekend. So, or their parents can pick them up, or they meet their parents out in the lobby, whatever they have arranged with them. One thing I like to do right before I start the message is Bible drills. My kids have not grown out of that yet. Where, you know, you say a verse, Jeremiah 17:9, and the first person to find it, I don't have them say, I got it, because they really a lot of times don't, whether on purpose or on like by accident. So I just have them start reading it. Just read it as loud as you can. And the fun twist I added this year is I have a couple of my leaders play. So if I have leaders in the room, I say, okay, you get a piece of candy for every leader you can beat. And then you get 1 piece of candy for all the students. So the leaders will like raise their hand when they got it. I'm like, all right, the leader candy is off the table, but you can still get the student candy. And the crazy thing is some of my kids can beat the leaders and they feel like so proud. So, I mean, they could technically, if I had 2 leaders, they could win 3 pieces of candy for all the kids and the leaders. So now it's kind of fun. They look forward to it. I give them Bible bucks if they bring their Bible, from home. And so if they earn 10 Bible bucks, then they get a gift card to The Habit. It's a burger place around us, kind of.
How much is the gift card for?
So I don't know how I got these, and maybe you can go and ask like for a nonprofit organization. I just have these certificates for like 1 free kids meal, and I fill it out and they bring it in and redeem it. I don't know how I got them. I have a whole stack of them. And so those kinds of things exist. You know, like if like where we're at, In-N-Out is a big thing. And like they have this summer reading program at the library. And if you read like 25 books and your parents sign it, you get a free cheeseburger at In-N-Out or something. So I know there's corporate like nonprofit partnerships with fast food places. So you could go and ask like whatever the favorite place in your area is. And then if they get 20 Bible bucks, they get a free youth group t-shirt. So that's kind of an incentive too, sort of a fun thing that is unique to weekend services that I don't do on Tuesday nights. So
do they have to like give you said 10 for the gift card?
Yeah.
Do they have to give you the Bible bucks? So they don't keep them then?
Nope. And then they have to start all over.
So if they wanted to get a t-shirt, they have to just continue to save up. They can't like, okay.
So they could, if they had 20, they could get 2 Habit gift cards or 1 shirt. Or I had a kid once save up and get 30. And I was like, dang, that's pretty awesome. And so I kind of did something special for him because it was a rare occasion. I got him an Amazon gift card for like 20 bucks or whatever. And so you could kind of figure out, like, if you have a kid like just so into it, you could think of a special prize for them. But yeah. And then I always have loaner Bibles too. So if the kids forget, then they go to the bookshelf and they can get a Bible. But I never start my message until every single person has a Bible in their hand. And they fight me on it sometimes. And then I guilt trip them about people around the world who don't have access to Bibles.
Do you allow Bibles on your phone?
I do, but it doesn't count for a Bible buck. And the reason I say that is because I'm like, you had no problem remembering your phone and you would not leave home without it. But for you to go that extra step to remember, I'm going to church, I want my Bible, that was a lot more intentional than, oh, I just happen to have the Bible app. You know, it's like, no. Like, so I will say when I'm speaking, you're welcome to use your Bible on your device, but you don't get a reward for it. Okay.
Fair enough.
So that is a weekend service. Any questions, Jeff? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, great. All right. So now let's move on to our midweek program, and you can kind of start to spot the differences. So my midweek program is on Tuesday evenings. And the only reason, because I think that's a fairly unique night of the week for youth group. I think most people do Wednesday, Thursdays. The only reason I do Tuesday is because Wednesday was already taken and we get the whole campus. So we do not simultaneously have high school students and junior high students or college students or adults or anybody else on campus. On Tuesday, we own the place, the whole thing, not just my junior high room. That actually ends up being a small group room. It's huge, but a small group room. And it's like the whole church is devoted just to us. So that's why we do Tuesday, because high school already had Wednesday. So that's really the only reason. If I could recommend a night of the week, I would say Wednesday or Thursday are probably the best. I say Monday and Friday are the worst options. And I don't think Sunday night's a great option either. But
not that probably anybody's doing it, but what about Saturday night? Just to throw it out there. I'm assuming
I think you need a bigger gap. Like if I did it on Monday, it's like, I just saw you at church.
I've always thought that.
You have to kind of spread it out, like the energy, because then people will pretty much choose one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I just went. So, or their parents will be like, oh, you have to pick one or the other, stuff like that. But I feel like Sunday to Tuesday, at least there's a day in between there to where it feels like, hey, it wasn't like I just saw you 5 minutes ago.
Right.
So
I always thought it was a good way too, if you spread them out, just to kind of have that refueling midweek, know, but if they're back to back Sunday, Monday or whatever,
right,
it's
then
like,
well,
now I got to go 5 days.
Yeah.
And who knows what'll happen in those 5 days, but if you have that kind of like every
moral failure, doubt my faith, what am I going to do? Okay. So
show up that next Sunday as a totally different person.
So 6:30 to 8:30 for middle school for me is the sweet spot. Our high schoolers meet 7 to 9. So I used to meet 7 to 9. I just feel like 6:30 to 8:30 because I have 6th graders just feels a lot better. So 6:30 to 8:30. And like I said, we get the whole church just for us. So around 6:15, we open up our snack shack. And we have music going, and we have a ball out in the Gaga pit. We have the video games on. We have our coffee shop open. I put the 9 square out. So that's kind of what's going on. There's kids sort of everywhere, all over the church. They're just doing their thing, having a good time, saying hello to everyone. And I kind of just make the rounds and chat with everyone. Then at about 6:30, I'm going to put on my 5-minute countdown. So There's monitors out in our hallways and stuff like that. So kids can see like, okay, the program is going to start. And then I call them all in. One pro tip for this is if you have access to radios with headsets so that you can coordinate with your team leads. So the weekend service, it's pretty much just me and my associate pastor, just the two of us. We can cover the whole weekend. I have an intern come here and there, but I don't require it. I'm like, if you're here, great. If you can't make it because they have other jobs, fine. Tuesday is a different story. I have 25 volunteers plus me, plus 3 security and a medical person. And so it's a lot more staffed because there's a lot more kids all there at once. So all my key players, I give radios to my medics, my security, my associate pastor, and then the people who are running things like the snack shack or pickup, stuff like that. So we can all communicate. So I'll say, hey, there's 45 seconds left on the countdown, start sending the kids into the main auditorium. So instead of me going around, hey, everyone, come on in. Well, if I have 5 leaders all scattered throughout the building and all I have to do is radio them and say, send the kids in, then we are way more efficient.
Yeah.
So that was sort of a tiny tweak that was a game changer in flow. And another key player you want to have a radio for is your tech booth, like to be able to communicate with them, unless you're using like in-ear monitors or something like that, which I doubt you are. You know, my tech guy, my production guy is on a radio and I can be like, okay, roll the funny video or, you know, and all of that. So it's very smooth when you have radios. So that countdown goes up, all the kids come into the auditorium, we're all in one place finally, we close the doors, security's making the rounds, make sure no stragglers got left out there. And then we do a welcome, and I always start with a funny video. I feel like that just engages students immediately to the front instead of we're just standing around the room chatting. The lights go down, the sound goes loud, and then usually I string together probably like 3 or 4 TikToks, and they're all appropriate. Don't worry. And they're hilarious. My algorithm is hilarious and it makes me love TikTok. It's totally clean, totally funny, a lot of Christian humor. There's some amazing Christian comedians on TikTok. So if you have not discovered them yet, start to like try to get your algorithm like bending that way, and you'll have so much fun content for students. So we watch the funny video, and then me and my associate pastor usually MC the night. I rotate who MCs with me. It's usually me and an intern, me and my associate pastor, me and like a high functioning volunteer who like wants to maybe become a youth pastor someday or something to get some practice. So we do the announcements. And the announcements on Tuesday are a little more exciting. We'll be like, what's coming up this or next week? It's the 8th grade luau. And then like my tech guy will like have a song that goes with it. And like, it'll be more exciting. So the main difference between Sunday and Tuesday or weekend and midweek for me is the energy and production level. I just had a silent burp.
It wasn't that silent. It was like a hiccup burp.
Yeah. I was like, no one's going to know. Nobody's going to know. They're going to know. Nobody's going to know. So like it's energy and lights and it's production, where Sunday's a little more like, hey guys, come on in. Well, this week we have, you know, but Tuesday gets like intense and fun and woo energy. And so if you don't have a guy or a girl who's super good at production and lights and sound and syncing with you, it's like this relationship between the MC and the sound booth of making these things super exciting. Try to train up someone or find someone who's interested in that to do that for you, because that just takes everything next level. So then we do something called the impossible shot. And this is where production really starts to get ramped up. So we say, all right, those are the announcements. All right, everyone go ahead and stand on up because it's time for the impossible shot. And right when we say that, all the lights go off except for the red lights. And then we play House of Pain Jump Around, and we're all like dancing. And we have this big screen that has like these basketball players and our logo on it. And basically what the impossible shot is we pick 2 students, one at a time. They have to come up to the stage, answer an impossible question. They're just stupid questions that sound psychotic, and it's multiple choice. Basically, whatever they answer is correct. It's just funny and fun. And then once they answer that, they get to shoot a basket. So we have a little basketball hoop up on a PVC pole. Somebody holds it and then they have to shoot from a designated spot. If they make it, they win money, and it goes up $1 every week. So once somebody wins it, it clears and goes back to $1.
What's the highest it's ever gotten?
$33.
That's it? I
That's
thought it was
it.
way higher than that.
No, maybe 36, but I've never paid anyone higher than 30 something, I don't think. So yeah, once they make it, you pay them out. I usually just take money out of the snack shack, or, Jesse gives me money. I always like pretend, oh, my banker is on their way, like in my radio. He said he's coming with a deposit for you. And then the kid comes up on stage and we like make it rain all this money for him. And it's pretty fun. So we do 2 of that. And the way I pick impossible shot shooters is like they have to be dancing. Like we're like dancing up on stage. There's lights. It's loud. And if they're dancing, we call them up on the stage, and it's just a fun little icebreaker that we do every week. It's a tradition and people look forward to it. So right after that, we move into our big group game. So that is, now we're at about like 6:45. So 15 minutes in, and we'll play a game for about 20 minutes. So the game is like 6:45 to 7:05. This is one big group game. And I like to kind of go back and forth between indoor games, outdoor games, small groups as teams, boys versus girls, every man for himself, like just vary it. Some are active, some are more watching and passive games, whatever. So after that, about 7:10, we're going to do our worship transition video. And by the way, I actually do one of these on Sunday also. I forgot to mention that. Right before worship, I always like to show a worship bumper that helps students transition and get into like, okay, stop talking, listen, and something high energy to kind of hype them up, like get them excited to sing. So as the worship band is coming up and they're putting in their monitors and getting their guitars and sitting out the keys, whatever they're doing, it gives sort of a smooth transition too. So not everyone's just watching like these people walk up on stage and it's quiet and they're like ding ding on their guitar. It's like lights are down, energy's up, the video's playing. It's something really fun and high energy. And once the worship transition video is over, on Tuesday, we do 3 songs. So I like to use kids up at the front to do hand motions. I let them get up on stage. I usually have my student leaders do it. That's one of their jobs. And so we usually do 2 fast, 1 slow. If you don't have a full band, I'm sure your worship leader knows this. Is that what do you call it? Like a click track, or just playing along to a track?
Oh, yeah.
Not a click track. That's
that's to keep tempo.
Yeah, that's what's that thing called? Metronome kind of vibe. No, this is like my Sunday morning guy is the same as my Tuesday guy, but he never has a band on Sunday. It's just him. So he'll have like synth or track behind him to just make it feel fuller. So if you're like, what? We don't have a full band. Well, ask your worship person if they've ever played to a track. And that kind of fills out and adds so much energy to your worship set that it's sort of like cheating, but in a like work smarter, not harder kind of way. Like we just don't have people. We're a small group. Great. Like just use the track and it feels full. So I'm sure you guys are already doing that, but if you're not, and then it's a message time. So the message on a Tuesday is much shorter than the weekend. So this is only going to be, usually about 15 minutes. And then right after that, they go into their small group discussions. So I like to try to get them in their small groups by 7:55, because it takes about 5 minutes to sort of transition and how are you doing and all that. And then, 8 to 8:30 for small group discussion. And every small group has 2 leaders and they're divided by age and gender. And depending how many, like we might have 2 6th grade boy groups, 2 6th grade girl groups, 2 7th grade boy, so on and so on. And they all have 2 leaders. And one thing I like to do is, if I can, pair kind of an older leader with a younger leader. I think those like 17, 18, 19-year-olds are super fun and the kids love them and they're really relatable on a life level, but they can't always field questions quite yet that are a little deeper or harder to answer, or maybe sensitive topics and things like that students are grappling with. And so I like pairing that with like an older person. And by older, I mean, that could be anyone from 25 to 75, like the whole gamut there. So I think that's really cool to have 2 ages, 2 leaders, and having a dual leader system too just offers so much support. We've talked about that on the podcast before, but that's also about that. And we take attendance in the small groups. So like we don't do a whole lottery thing or whatever. They just, the leaders fill out their attendance sheets and then have cards in their folders. Like, so they have it. Every small group has its own folder. So it's like a binder and it will say like Jeff and Jed's small group. And in there will be your talk sheet. It'll be your attendance sheet. And then I like to put some blank lined paper to keep prayer requests in there as well, and a pen for the leader. And then speaking of radios, it's really great since all your leaders are all scattered to have a radio in every single room. I turn it on before group to a different channel than me and the rest of the staff that I talked about were on. So I turn them on to channel 2 in case I ever need to get a hold of them during small group, whether it's a safety situation or if I just have to be like, hey, it's 8:35. You were supposed to dismiss 5 minutes ago. The line is backing up here. You need to dismiss your kids. So it's a good way for me to be able to communicate with leaders anytime I need to. So if your church does not already have radios, for reasons like this, I would say let's invest in a set. That's a worthwhile investment, especially with the headpieces as you're running around. But in the small group rooms, we just put them on the dock, turn them on, channel 2, and then people can hear us if we just come through the radio. So then they dismiss them to pickup, and the kids come out, and we do our pickup system where kids kind of stand by the gate. Me and a few leaders go up to the cars and we'll say, Jeff, your ride is here. And then someone on the mic says, Jeff, your ride is here. And then they come out so that not all these cars are parking and leaving simultaneously. It's just a little more organized.
That was like drinking from a fire hose. That's a lot of information.
I know, it's a lot.
If you guys were interested in possibly seeing what a kind of a start to finish youth group midweek program night looks like, go ahead and put in the comment section below. Yes, I'm interested in seeing that. And we might be able to get together a video just of the whole, I guess, vlog style.
Yeah, like just show you. Yeah, like come with me to youth group night.
So if that's something you're interested in, put it in the comment section below. But now it's time for a question of the day.
Wait.
One
more thing I forgot to say, actually. So Tuesday night, sorry, there's so much info. There's a lot that happens. All the leaders meet at 6:00. So we meet, all 25 of us. Yeah, right. I wish. Meet before you.
Yeah, they're right. There's not 25 of you, or yeah, right. They're not there at 6.
They don't come. I mean, half of them usually come. I never get all of them, but we meet. We go over. Hey, here's what's going on tonight. I need 3 helpers to help with this. Who wants to own this? And hey, don't forget about next week. We have a quick meeting, about 15 minutes. We pray over the students, pray over the night, and then we go get them, Tiger. So that's just one little extra element I forgot to say.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Make sure you do a team meeting for your leaders to help everyone get on the same page. It's a great idea. Question of the day. Last week we did, what was your least favorite grade in school? And there was a lot of like really sad answers. Kind of reading through them, like there was a lot of people that had some hard times. So let's
as we all do,
reverse it and we'll make it a little more upbeat and say, what was your favorite grade in school? So question of the day this week is, what was your favorite grade in school and why? Put that in the comment section below. Let's also do a community.
Are we not going to answer it?
Oh yeah, I guess we should.
I loved 4th grade. 4th grade was my favorite.
Why?
I had the best teacher ever. Her name was Miss Gooden, and she like had us over at her house and we made brownies, and she like would just do so many extra fun things, and like it just felt like a party every day. She was
Yeah.
just fun and social. It was almost like she was a youth leader. She wasn't married, so I feel like she just had so much extra time to like do fun things with us. And I never forgot it. She was the best. She was so kind.
I was thinking of saying 4th grade, but I'm actually going to say senior year. And the same reason a lot of people didn't like their senior year, including you, was because you said it wasn't exciting, wasn't fun, you were kind of like over it. That's why I loved it, because there was nothing really to do. I didn't even have a first period. My last period was either track or cross country, and I just felt like it was like not even school, just hanging out with my friends and then going home. Like
maybe it's because I didn't have any friends.
That could be why. That's why I liked that. That was my favorite grade, just because of that. All right, community comment of the day. This comes from JDog1924, who says, "Encouraged and refreshed. Wow, this is the podcast I didn't know I needed. I've been in youth ministry for years and still learn new things every week here. Thanks for all you do."
Oh, I love that.
Thanks, JDog.
Something new every week.
I learn something new every week too.
You're welcome.
All right, so it is time to announce our first giveaway winner. This is what we're giving away, people.
Do you want me to hold these up too?
For 5 weeks, obviously only 4 weeks after this. A set of dodgeballs.
They're soft.
Yes, these are supposedly, the ones that are coated. Well, they are the ones that are coated and supposedly sting less when they hit you in the face.
Because you will get hit in the face. And they are the small ones, so they're easier to grip. You can't throw them as hard, but that's a good thing.
I think.
As the rubber death balls?
Yeah, but that's why it's not fun to play with those.
How many 6th grade girls have
I thought you meant the larger version of these.
No. The rubber ones. And so they don't go as hard as that, but that's great because some of those boys, man, it's like you're going to knock someone's head
leaders.
Off.
That's another problem.
That's true.
All right. So the winner for week 1 is William Sublette.
Wow.
And if your name is actually pronounced Soublé, I do apologize if you're a little more French in the pronunciation, but either way, we love you.
Sublette, Soublé.
We'll be in contact with you to send you the dodgeball set.
Way to go.
And now, if you're thinking, what the heck are you guys talking about? That's what I think to myself often, but I'm just kind of putting myself in your shoes.
What the heck am I talking about?
What the heck am I talking about? I think that often. No, so if you guys are like, what is this? So last week we had our 150th episode.
I can't believe it.
I know. 3 years this podcast has been going.
Wow. Just want to raise a toast?
You didn't even want to do it at first. I had a strong arm.
Tell them that.
I've told you that many times.
Yeah, I did. You're welcome. I'm here.
If you guys are interested in signing up for our giveaway, it is free to enter. All you have to do is send us an email at ministrycoachpodcast@gmail.com and just put free 150 either in the subject line or in the body of the email and let us know that you're entering. You can also check the description below and find out all the details and ways to get additional entries, extra entries. Just really quick, if you leave a review on our podcast channel on Apple Podcasts, 25 extra entry points there. Boom. If you comment on the question of the day below or last week or any of the next couple weeks coming up, that's 5 points extra entries right there. You can only do it one time per video, but still, it adds up. It does add up. So anyways, if you have any questions, it's in the description below. Otherwise, we thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we will see you next time.
Today, we're talking all about the difference between our weekend services and our midweek program and youth safety situation, or just to say, hey,
how long have you been there? How long have you been standing back there?